What if the dog who never once left your side sat in pouring rain for 9 straight days, waiting for you to come home, while you were already unpacking boxes in a new house 2 states away? Meet Shadow, a pitch-black Labrador who wasn't just a pet. He was this family's actual heartbeat. Every single morning for 12 years, he walked the kids to the big yellow school bus. Rain, snow, or 90-degree heat, it never mattered. He sat on that exact same corner until the bus disappeared around the bend. Only then did he turn and trot home like his shift was officially over. At night, he planted his 95-pound body across Dad's bedroom door, a living, breathing security blanket nobody ever had to buy batteries for. When 8-year-old Emma woke up screaming from another nightmare, Shadow was on her bed before either parent even opened their eyes. He'd let her bury her face in his neck and cry until the shaking finally stopped. When Mom pulled into the driveway dead tired from double shifts, Shadow was already waiting at the door, tail whipping so hard it sounded like a helicopter taking off. Those soft brown eyes said the same thing every single night. "You're safe now. I've got you." The neighbors had a running joke for years. They'd laugh and say, "Shadow isn't a dog. He's love wearing a black fur coat." So, when Dad got the huge promotion everyone was celebrating, they swore up and down, over and over, in front of God and everybody, "Shadow is family. We would never, ever leave him behind." Then came the text from the new landlord. 3 cold words that changed everything. No pets allowed. Company policy. Dad read it out loud at the dinner table. The whole room went dead quiet. Mom said, "We'll find a place that takes dogs." That promise lasted exactly 1 day of house hunting. Then the final offer landed. Sign by Monday morning, or the job disappears forever. They signed Sunday night. They told the neighbors, "Oh, Shadow will be fine. He's tough. He'll figure it out." They gave him one last scratch behind the ears while the moving truck sat idling in the driveway. They closed the front door, climbed into the SUV, and drove away. Shadow just stood there on the porch, watching their taillights disappear down the street. He didn't bark, didn't chase the car, didn't understand that "see you later" had just turned into goodbye forever. That night, the sky cracked open. The rain came down in sheets, but Shadow never left the front porch. Not for food, not for shelter, not even when thunder shook the empty house. Day 1, he sat there whining at the door that would never open again. Day 2, the neighbors started noticing he still hadn't moved. Day 3, the rain turned ice cold, and his black fur was soaked straight through to the skin. He still refused to leave the exact spot where he'd waited for them every single day of his life. And the question that keeps hammering in my head is this: how many days in the rain would your dog wait for you before he finally gave up hope that you were ever coming back? By day 4, the neighbors couldn't take it anymore. Miss Linda from across the street started leaving bowls of food on the porch. Shadow wouldn't touch them. He'd just look at the bowl, then back at the door, tail giving one weak thump, like he was saying, "They'll be home any minute. I can wait." Day 5, the rain turned sideways. The temperature dropped into the 30s. His black coat was matted flat against his skin. You could see every rib. That's when old Mr. Thompson, the retired Marine next door, lost it. He marched over in his slippers, wrapped Shadow in a moving blanket, and carried all 95 pounds inside his house. Shadow fought him the whole way, whining, struggling, trying to get back to that exact spot on the porch because that's where they always came home. Thompson sat up with him all night on the living room floor. Shadow never slept. He just stared at the front door of the empty house across the street. Every time a car slowed down, his ears shot up. Every single time, it wasn't them. Day 6, the local news picked up the story. Faithful dog refuses to leave porch after family moves away. The clip went viral overnight. Hundreds of thousands of shares. People offering to adopt him sight unseen. But every time someone tried to take him, Shadow planted his feet and refused to leave the property. Day 7, the shelter got involved. They brought a catch pole. Shadow didn't fight them. He just lowered his head and walked like he finally understood. They scanned for a microchip. It still had the family's old number. The shelter called. It rang twice, then went straight to a voicemail that said, "You've reached the Millers. We've moved. Leave a message." They left 3 messages. No callback. Day 8, Shadow stopped eating completely. The vet came out, gave him fluids under the skin, said quietly, "If nobody claims him by tomorrow, we have to make a decision." That night, the rain came harder than ever. The porch light the neighbors left on for him flickered and went out. Day 9, exactly 7:03 a.m., the same time Dad used to open the door and whistle every morning, Shadow pulled himself up one last time, soaked, shaking, barely able to stand. He walked to the edge of the porch, looked down the empty street one final time. Then he lowered his big black head onto his paws and let out the longest, deepest sigh anyone had ever heard from a dog. The neighbor who was filming through her window said she felt it in her soul. That was the exact moment Shadow gave up. The euthanasia was scheduled for 10 a.m. the next day. Keep watching, because at 9:42 a.m., pickup truck pulled up with out-of-state plates, and the man who stepped out was holding the exact same red leash Shadow wore when he was a puppy. And 24 hours later, the family posted one picture online that turned half of America against them forever. The man who stepped out of that pickup truck at 9:42 a.m. was a 68-year-old widower named Ray. He'd lost his wife to cancer 2 years earlier. Their house had been empty and quiet ever since. No footsteps, no tail thumps, no one waiting at the door when he came home from the hardware store. Ray saw the viral clip on Facebook, the one where Shadow lowers his head on day 9 and sighs like his heart just stopped. He told his daughter later, "I felt my Mary talking to me." She said, "Go get that boy before they take him from us too." Ray didn't call ahead. He just threw the old red leash in the passenger seat, the same one his own lab had worn 20 years ago, and drove 6 hours straight from Tennessee. When he walked into the shelter, Shadow was lying in the corner of a concrete run, eyes dull, ribs showing, IV bandage on his neck. Ray knelt down in front of the kennel gate. He didn't say a word at first, just clicked the leash like he used to for his own dog. Shadow's ears twitched for the first time in 9 days. Ray spoke soft and low. "Hey, soldier, ready to go home?" Shadow stood up on legs that could barely hold him. walked to the gate and placed his big black head against Ray's chest. The shelter staff cried, the vet cried, even the animal control officer who'd caught him turned away so nobody would see. Ray signed the papers without reading a single line, carried all 95 pounds to the truck himself, laid him on the same blanket Mary used to keep in the front seat. On the drive home, he stopped every hour so Shadow could drink, spoke to him the whole way. "You're safe now, buddy. Nobody's ever leaving you again." 3 weeks later, Ray posted one photo on the same neighborhood Facebook page that had blown up with the original video. It showed Shadow asleep on a heated orthopedic bed in front of a fireplace, head resting on Ray's boot, a half-eaten steak on a plate beside him. Caption: "He waited 9 days in the rain for people who didn't deserve him. I would have waited 90 years. So, tell me in the comments, and be dead honest, when a dog gives you his entire life and you trade him the second he slows down, who exactly is the one that doesn't deserve a home?" 6 months after that Christmas post blew up in their faces, the family tried to do damage control. They made a new public post, a long apology, said they never meant to hurt anyone, that moving stress got the best of them, that they still think about Shadow every day. They even posted an old throwback photo of the kids hugging him as a puppy. Hashtag, "We miss you, Shadow." Ray saw it. He didn't rage post. He didn't call them out. He just uploaded one quiet video the next morning. No music, just the crackle of the fireplace. It showed Shadow lying on his heated bed, gray muzzle now almost snow white, slowly wagging his tail while Ray scratched behind his ears. Ray looked straight into the camera and said, "This boy waited 9 days in the rain for people who replaced him in 9 hours. He doesn't need apologies. He doesn't need throwback pictures. He just needed someone who would never leave again. And I'm honored that gets to be me for whatever time he has left." Then he leaned down and kissed the top of Shadow's head. That video got 12 million views in a week. It currently sits at 28 million. The apology post? Deleted within 48 hours. Today, Shadow is 14. His hips are bad. He needs help getting up the 3 porch steps. But every single night, he still drags himself across the hallway and plants himself in front of Ray's bedroom door, just like he did for 12 years in another life. Ray installed a ramp, bought the good joint meds, cooks him steak on Fridays, reads him the newspaper out loud because Shadow always loved the sound of his voice. And every single evening, when the Tennessee sun drops behind the hills, Ray sits on the floor, pulls Shadow's head into his lap, and whispers the same 4 words he's said for the last 2 years. "I'm never leaving you." Shadow's tail still thumps, slower now, but it thumps. That's all the proof Ray needs. So here's the only question that matters, and I need you to answer it in the comments right now. Be honest, because Shadow can't ask it himself. When a dog gives you his entire life, walks your kids to the bus in blizzards, sleeps outside your door so you can sleep safe, waits 9 days in the rain because he still believes in you, and you trade him in the second life gets inconvenient, tell me, who exactly is the one that doesn't deserve a home? Drop your answer below, because some betrayals don't get forgiven. Some heroes finally get the ending they earned, and some old black labs get to fall asleep every night knowing one man kept a promise the whole world broke. Thank you for watching. If this story hit you even half as hard as it hit me, hit subscribe. We tell these stories so no dog ever has to wait in the rain again. See you in the next one.